Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know Podcast Network presents Balls and Brew.
Welcome to NFL Week number 8 here on the Flagship Sports Podcast on the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. I am your host, Rod Morgan. This podcast and every other podcast on the Morgan You Know Network is produced by James Jamriska. He will be along shortly, but joining me, we introduce him first. I'm not really sure why we introduce him first. Probably because he's the oldest. Maybe because he's the furthest south as far as on the globe. It's our guy in North Carolina. It's Chris King.
Age before beauty, Rod.
I suppose you could say that, right? Until someday we go video and then everybody will be able to judge for themselves. But right now you can get away with saying that line. If we are talking football, we are joined by our football handicapper coming off a bit of a rough week, but we are still 12-9 on the year. It is Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
What's up, boys? What's going on? Need to get back on the winning track in week 8.
All right, we had this whole thing last week about luck. It was gonna have to regress back to the mean, and Chris told you that that's garbage, and who knows who was right on that, but you certainly came out 0-3. To help us sort all of it out, I said he'd be along later. It's our favorite producer. It's Jimmy Jamriska. James, hello.
I am a sorter, Rod. I am ready to go. Williams, Chris, let's do this.
All right. Well, yeah, and we're definitely going to have to talk about your Bears, Jim. I know you're going to get a chance to talk about that. So you know what I'm going to do for you? Let's go ahead and start there, Jimmy. What's the thing the Bears should be the most proud of coming out of that week? I think it's what they're about to get right now.
Well, I think, honestly, the best part about that game was Justin Fields went through his progressions when he was in the pocket, something he hasn't done before. The first couple drives, I noticed that, and I was like, he's learning. Justin Fields is learning. He's going the right direction. I love it. They fought hard. That is what I took out of that game.
And so that game made you do what, Jimmy? This is what I think the Bears should be most proud of. This is what I was trying to lead you to right here. Tell us. We're leading the podcast with it. That's how big of a deal it was.
It made me believe in the Bears, and they, Rod, are the face for this week. The whole Chicago Bears team, offense, defense, special teams, the coaching, I loved it. They're the face of the week.
Listen, I was going into that Monday Night Football game thinking that this was going to be a complete waste of time. Why are we doing this? Here we go again with the Bears looking like a complete also-ran football team. And my goodness, Jimmy, they look like a real, legit organization. You could have convinced me Justin Fields could be a real quarterback there. I mean, you know, I'm real happy for you. It didn't go as well for my Indianapolis Colts, but I'm happy for you, my friend.
I'm very happy, and it was nice to have. The Bears beat the Patriots so bad, Rod, that they took a knee on 4th and goal at the Patriots' 1-yard line so they didn't run up the score. How awesome is that?
See, but I didn't appreciate that because I really don't like the Patriots, and I would have liked them to score that touchdown. Williams, you are a Bear fan as well, and you look at all the numbers. I mean, how surprised must you have been to see this performance out of your Bears?
Yeah, man, I was shocked, honestly. That was the best that Fields has looked since he's been a pro. And I thought it was possible maybe because the Patriots play a lot of man. And, he does better against man than he does zone. But, yeah, man, the offensive line deserves a lot of props because he wasn't getting pressured that much at all. And Jimmy's right. He finally went through his reads, had a couple of them where he held on to the ball too long. But, man, you couldn't ask for a better Bears victory, a more unforeseen 19-point victory than a Monday night against Belichick and the Pats.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I'm going to come to you here because I think you actually have something that you know that comes out of that game as well. But, I mean, we hear so often about the coach of the New England Patriots, right, against a young quarterback like the Bears quarterback, right? A rookie head coach like the Bears head coach, and I mean, we didn't get any of that.
No. What we learned and what I know is that Bill Belichick's not the greatest coach in the world.
Wow!
I mean, it's evident, Rod. He has only succeeded when he had a once in a generational talent at quarterback. That's it. Any other time that he's only been a head coach of 2 teams, and without Tom Brady, no Super Bowls. You know, with going into this year as well, he thinks he's so godlike that he doesn't even really get a good offensive coordinator. The one thing that was prevalent through all those 20 years or so at the Patriots when Tom Brady was there was even though you had different offensive coordinators, you still had the same system, whether it was Charlie Weiss, Bill O'Brien, Josh McDaniels. It was the same offensive system consistently. Not anymore, because Belichick thinks he's God and can run everything, and it's apparent that he can't.
Okay, let me ask you this then. We're going to have to stay on this for a second when you drop a scorching take like that. So if it's not Bill Belichick that's the greatest coach of all time, because I begrudgingly would probably have to agree with that. I mean, I get your argument, but just stay with me here for a second. So who is the greatest coach then?
I thought about this a lot because I figured you were going to ask me this question, and I really kind of got to give it to Joe Gibbs, with maybe 1A being Don Shula. And the reason I like to give it to Gibbs over Shula, Shula definitely has the most wins, a longer coaching career. But Joe Gibbs is the only head coach in the history of the NFL to win 3 different Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. Theismann, Doug Williams, and Mark Rippon.
I knew you were going to give me Joe Gibbs. The whole time I was like, Chris is only going to give me Joe Gibbs here because it completely furthers his argument. Because if he gives me Bill Walsh, I'm going to say what? So Joe Montana doesn't count. If he gives me Chuck Noll, I'm going to say Bradshaw doesn't count. So I knew you were going to give me Joe Gibbs. You were a step ahead of me there, my friend. All right, I think that's complete nonsense. But okay, you made a fair argument there. I'm going to let our football handicapper and then Jimmy respond in tow. Williams, you're up first.
Yeah, man, it's Belichick and it's not close. I mean, maybe Bill Walsh is in there second or third. Joe Gibbs is a good pick, but you got to remember, man, the Patriots and Rams that last Super Bowl, the maybe the most boring Super Bowl of all time, that was all Belichick there. I mean, he absolutely shut down that high-powered Rams offense. I think they scored 3 points in that game. Brady did nothing, and they won the Super Bowl. Also, you have to go back to 1990. I know he wasn't the head coach then, but as a defensive coordinator for the Giants, he put on a coaching clinic in that playoffs, beating the Bears, the Niners, and the Bills. And those 3 offenses completely different. And specifically the last 2, the Niners and the Bills, 2 high-powered offenses, held them both under 20 points, and he was one of the first guys to play like that shell cover 2 that's like everybody's playing right now. That wasn't even like a thought back then. That's how he beat the Bills. Everyone thought the Bills were going to roll over the Giants there, but no. I mean, those are 2 of the best coaching performances of all time.
You've really helped prove my point, though, Williams. When he was the defensive coordinator at the Giants, he had a once-in-a-generational talent in Lawrence Taylor, anchoring that defense. He is a great at quarterback, defensive schemer. Defensive schemer, a great defensive coordinator, not the greatest head coach in the world.
All right, Jimmy, I don't want to spend too much more time on Belichick, but I got to let you weigh in here.
Well, coaching in today's NFL means you have to win. So I would think Don Shula, who's got the most career wins, couple Super Bowls, 17-0 team. I'm surprised that we didn't talk a little bit more about him. And then, hey, I'm just throwing it out there, George Halas. Just throwing it out there. Maybe in there too. So.
Oh, Papa Bear, Chris! I'm surprised you didn't throw out Papa Bear there. You used to have dinner with him back in your days as a vacuum cleaner salesman in the Midwest.
I mean, he did a lot of more winning before the Super Bowl, so I didn't want to include him in this combo.
Well, that's nice of you to just go in the Super Bowl era. All right, well, there we go, folks. We were off to a rousing start. The Bears, if you had that in your bingo card at the beginning of the year that the Bears were going to be a face of the week, you would have thought it would have taken you a long time to fill that bingo card, but you got it in week 7. And then we have Chris telling us that Bill Belichick is overrated. Where do we go from here? Let's go to... We got to talk about the Colts here. Our faithful Balls and Brew listeners are thinking that we're going to weigh in on the Colts here. They've made a change at quarterback. I certainly have an awful lot of thoughts, but let's get the nuts and bolts of it. Williams, what do you got for us on the quarterback change?
I mean, it's an overreaction by Irsay, but I mean, whatever. I mean, he wanted to beat the Titans so bad. I mean, he does realize there's still 10 games left of this regular season, right? I mean, they're only like 1.5 games back. The Titans still have to play at KC, at Green Bay versus Cincy, at Philly, at the Chargers versus the Cowboys. I mean, this Tennessee team is such a fraud, man, that I can't get over them, man. The Colts could have easily won that game.
All right, well, let's not get tripped up on the Colts could have won that game. Anything? Do you have anything for us on Ellinger? Do you know? I mean, do you have anything on what the possible QB change might mean for the Colts?
I mean, he's better with his legs. I mean, he had an awesome preseason, but if you go back and watch some of the preseason tape, like those guys weren't really playing tough defensive schemes there. So I don't know. I question the move, but like, I mean, Matt Ryan wasn't playing good. I mean, but that's behind the offensive line. I mean, he has the most fumbles, he has the most picks. So like, I kind of get it, but like to name Ellinger the starter for the rest of the year is just complete nonsense in my opinion.
What do you make of Frank Reich basically just like apologizing to Matt Ryan as he completely kicks him to the curb? What do you make of that, man? Just more complete weirdness out of Frank Reich.
Well, no, the move is from Irsay. I mean,
no, I know, but then Reich in his press conference was all like, to be honest, we failed Matt. You know what I mean? Like, he's basically just apologizing to him. I mean, come on, Frank. What are you doing?
Well, he's taking the sword. He's falling on the sword.
Well,
I mean,
he's going to have to fall on the sword real soon. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess kudos to him for not trying to turn it on somebody else to save his own skin. But goodness gracious, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, they do need to play better. I mean, they've got the talent. They just need to start playing better, man.
Jimmy, who's it on then? Who's it on? If it's not on Matt Ryan, right? If it's not really Matt Ryan's fault, and if Frank Reich's just taking the sword for somebody else here, and it's Irsay's call, then I mean, whose fault is it then that this Colts team is just completely listless and so roller coastery?
It's my heel of the week. It's got to be Irsay. It starts at the top, and I'll tell you why. Irsay has a lot more to do with the team than a lot of other owners do. They have not had a QB plan at all for the last 3 or 4 years. Obviously, Matt Ryan just kind of became available. They have not had the help at wide receiver they need. Their offensive line was one of the strengths they had, and now it's one of their biggest weaknesses. It's an organizational failure right now. You're apologizing to Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan was promised a lot of good stuff, but it just didn't really happen. And by the way, Nick Foles is just sitting there he's never come off the bench before and won anything, right? So that Nick Foles has got to be like, all right, thanks. I'm glad I'm here. But if you're 3 games back right now, that's the kicker. You are 3 games back in the divisions because the Titans already have the 2 wins. So you have to make up a lot of ground to win this division.
Yeah, and this team has absolutely zero chance of making up that ground, so I'm all for it. Don't put in Nick Foles. We know what Nick Foles is. We know what this Colts team is. You know what we don't know? We don't know what slinging Sam Ellinger's all about. Chris, your thoughts on the QB change for your second favorite team, the Colts?
Yeah, I'm for it. Listen, Matt Ryan has thrown 9 interceptions. He has fumbled the ball 11 times. Thankfully, he's only lost 3, but that's still 12 turnovers for one man in 7 games. You don't really want to see 12 turnovers as a team over 7 games if you want to be competitive in the NFL. I'd much rather have a 24-year-old go out there and do just as well as a 42-year-old, and maybe he can develop and get something and get some chemistry going with these guys towards the end of the season, and we have at least a solid young quarterback next year to either back up another retread we decide to sign and bring on, or at least give him the reins maybe next year.
No, stop it with retread. We're not doing that. And here's what I hope out of Sam Ellinger. I hope he has a good time quarterbacking, but I hope he's absolutely terrible and that the Colts get into the top 5 of the NFL draft. That's what I hope happens. I hope we can get our basic almost pick of the litter of the QBs that are going to be at the top. That's what this Indianapolis Colts franchise needs to do because, as I explained last week, they are a listless franchise more often than not, and certain quarterback named Peyton Manning pulled them up by his bootstraps and made them relevant, and only then were they relevant. They had a couple of bright, shiny years under a few other spark under the sun quarterbacks, but we need to find the next good franchise quarterback, and you only find that at the top of the draft. But Jimmy, I'm going to push back on you here real slightly, and then we're going to go to Williams. Irsay is not a heel here. He is a hero, all right? He is an absolute hero. I love this out of Irsay right now. He comes down last year, says Carson Wentz isn't playing for my team, comes down this year and says Matt Ryan is out of here. I'm all about it. He's Rachel Phelps for Major League, Jimmy. I'm in.
How's that first round pick looking? They traded for Wentz. And by the way, does anybody want any tickets to the Heineke Ellinger game this Sunday in Indianapolis? I'm just asking questions.
Speaking of this, we want to make fun of franchises. I see recently that the Redskins are now not going to play Carson Wentz, so they don't have to give up a higher draft pick, which the Colts went ahead and stupidly did last year and didn't make the playoffs anyway. Williams, I see you desperately want to get in here. What do you got?
Yeah, I love the passion of Irsay. I do. That was at the end of the year last year when Wentz is like throwing left-handed picks in the end zone and just totally, wamboozling the Colts season. There's still 10 games left, man. If the Colts go 6-4 and the Titans go 4-6, the Colts win the division. So I don't think that's too crazy. This Titans team, man, I'm telling you, before the pick six, there was a blatant, and I hate to harp on the refs here, but I have a point at the end, I swear. Before that pick six, the refs missed like a blatant face mask on Hines, and that would have put it at 2nd and 13 from the 28, so there's like a clear passing down instead of it being a 1st and 10 from inside the 15. So that's a 10-point swing there minimum. With the pick six happening the next play, they lose by 9. Remember, the Titans did not even score an offensive touchdown in this game, and they still only have 3 points in the fourth quarter. The crazy part about that is that the crew that they had last week had thrown the most flags out of any crew to date. The Titans were the 3rd most penalized team heading into that game. That was another reason why I liked the Colts in that game. And blah. I mean, this Titans team just runs so hot right now. They're so incredibly lucky. They cannot sustain.
You get what you deserve for betting on the Colts. I tried to warn you of that last week. So you get what you deserve for betting on the Colts there. And listen, I'm not going to try to sell you that the Tennessee Titans are a great team, but I'm certainly going to sell you that the Indianapolis Colts are not a great team. But I love that you are continuing to come on here and peddle hope to Colts fans. You clearly are just living high off of the fumes of your Bears pounding down the Patriots and just continuing to peddle this nonsense. Chris, we checked in on the Colts and the Bears. Let's do a quick check-in on the Cowboys here before we move along.
Well, they ended up beating the Lions last week, but it really comes down to one play of why they beat the Lions, and that is DeMarcus Lawrence. And I know that this is the best defensive play that we will probably see all year and probably have not seen anything like it for the past 10 years. I'm sorry to do this, guys, but you football heads out there, you will understand and follow along. All right. Lawrence is lined up defensive end on the left side of the defense. That's the right side of the offensive line. Lions were in I formation. You knew they were going to run. They had a tight end at fullback. They had the guard, the tackle, and another tight end. They were going to pull that right guard, and then they were going to double team Lawrence down with the tight end and the tackle. And then you have the other tight end coming through at fullback. And what Lawrence did was he faked in and then shimmied between the double team. So he got past the first two, the right tackle and then that right tight end, got through them, hit the pulling guard and knocked him down so he couldn't keep going and kick out, hit the other tight end that was a fullback as a lead blocker and shimmied off of him, hit the running back, forced the fumble. Dallas saved that touchdown. It was 10-6 right then. If the Lions go up 14-10, it changes the complete aspect of this game. Lions could have ended up winning it. He saved the game with by far the best single play performance I have seen in a long, long time.
I think that also speaks to Dak's performance, that Chris is going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys defense and one particular play by one particular Dallas Cowboys defender and not Dak in his return. But hey, listen, his Cowboys are winning. They're right in the thick of things in the NFC. You could pick any number of teams behind the Eagles as the second best team in the NFC. Why not beat the Cowboys? All right, we still have one more thing Chris knows, and I have to chide myself here a little bit. I completely forgot to give you a Tom Cruise game of the week last week. That's my bad. That's on me. I have a doozy worked up for this week, so we will get to that a little bit later. But let's get to our football handicapper right now, his pick. And, man, this is a super exciting football game here, this first one Williams has for us. What do you got?
Yeah, I did not plan on picking this game, but I have some tidbits here. It'll make sense once I get through everything. Carolina, Atlanta. I'm taking Carolina +4 here. And the reason for this is, PJ Walker, he struggles with pressure, but the Falcons don't generate any pressure. They are dead last in pressure rate. And the Falcons just lost their 2 best defensive players, their 2 shutdown corners in Casey Hayward and A.J. Terrell. Plus, they lost Jalen Hawkins, their starting safety, is out. P.J. Walker has a 115 QB rating from a clean pocket. That's about average. That's fine. And Walker is actually 3-1 against the spread in his career. Shout out to him as he was fantastic in the XFL. Would have won the MVP in there. But the league had to fold in 2020 because of COVID. But the Panthers can run here, too. They had 170.
Shout out XFL, man.
Shout out XFL.
Williams, you go deep, baby.
The Panthers can run here, too. They had 176 rushing yards against Tampa last week. And the Falcons are 26th in run defensive DVOA. On the other side, Carolina has a better rush D than pass D, which is ideal when you face Atlanta. That's because that's all they want to do is run. Carolina is only allowing 1.76 yards per carry to QBs. That's important because Atlanta likes to run a lot with Mariota. That's the lowest yardage total in the league, and they've faced Danny Dimes and Kyler Murray. So they've been tested with that, which is surprising. I would have never guessed that about Carolina. And then dogs of over 3 this year, just dogs getting 3 points this year or more, are 44, 20, and 22 against the spread. That's 67%. Part of that is because scoring is down this year, but that's the best start for dogs of at least a field goal through 7 weeks in the last 25 years. Last thing here, Sean Hockley is the referee in this game. He's 39, 28, and 2 against the spread to the under in his career. If there's less points being scored, that favors the dog here getting 4 points. Also, Hockley has yet to call an illegal contact penalty, one of only 3 officials to not do so this season. The Panthers have yet to commit an illegal contact penalty this year, so chances are they may get away with a few illegal contacts down the field here. I'll take that whenever I can. Also, I'll take Carolina getting 4 here in Atlanta.
Listen, if there's one thing I've always said, if you have 2 NFL teams on a teeter-totter, you're going to lean to the side that's going to have not committed any illegal contact penalties throughout the entire year, and that's always a stat that I keep in my back pocket. Williams, you continue to amaze me always. Jimmy, Carolina, P.J. Walker, Atlanta, Marcus Mariota. Do you have any thoughts whatsoever on this football game?
Nope.
Yep, I kind of have the same. Chris, do you have any thoughts whatsoever on Panthers v. Falcons? I mean, this is your backyard team, so I hope you have something for us.
Listen, the Panthers don't want to win. That's the crazy thing. Like, they're going to trade away 2 of their best offensive weapons and just say, hey, let's just flow to the end of the season, and they go out and they beat the Bucs, which may say more about the Bucs than the Panthers. But this has a real opportunity to be an exciting game. They're division rivals. Atlanta comes up with some big opportune plays at points, and Walker can run. So it can be a real exciting game.
Can you tell Chris King lives in Carolina there, folks? He really was bringing the thunder there for the Panthers. I like that. Let's take a quick detour here because you just brought up something there that I actually meant to bring up at the top and I completely forgot. Jimmy, if I told you Tom Brady does not actually finish the year as the Tampa Bay quarterback because he just walks away, do you think that's crazy, or do you think we actually could see that now? Because the Tom Brady we knew before, that's crazy. I think we could see that now. Am I nuts?
No, I don't think you're nuts. I don't think that's going to happen. He's not going to just ruin his entire life in career. He's going to end this season. He will retire after this season though.
Williams, any chance that Brady just walks away?
No, but I've had a hot take on this for like over a year now, and my hot take is that Tom Brady finishes the year with Tampa Bay and then next year wins a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow, you still think after the way this year's gone that there's a chance Tommy Boy comes back for one more, huh? That definitely is hot right there. Chris, you're a conspiracy theorist guy. We're not a gossip podcast here, but we know stuff's going on with Tom Brady. Do you think there's a chance he just walks away? Because I think the new Tom Brady we've seen over the last couple of years could just walk away.
I want nothing more than for him to walk away in the middle of the season so I can forever call him Tom Brady the Quitter.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly on my mind as well. I mean, I've garnered a little bit of respect for the guy. You know, he's clearly one of the best winners the NFL has ever seen. But I don't know. I think that in today's day, right, like with how much we have to coddle these athletes, I think if Tom Brady just walked away, man, like I think we'd be real quick into the how great for Tom Brady to walk away for his own mental health, right? Like I think we'd be immediately launched into that conversation. So I'm not so sure that his reputation would take a major ding if he just walked away, which is what it sounded like a few of you guys said his own motivation to stick around is. But I don't know. I just think it's something interesting to see. But I think Mr. Williams has sort of told us before that things for Tampa Bay could turn around at any point. They've showed us that before. So I think Tom Brady probably does stick around. But, man, it's been a rough couple of weeks for the Golden Boy, the man who could do no wrong for so much of our football watching lives. Speaking of a team that can't do much right, the Arizona Cardinals, they're taking on another team that a lot of people don't like, but I'll be if they're not one that will say, hey, we're the second best team in the NFC. What do you got for us on Zona v. Minnesota, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, and let me get a classic Williams circle back here. The big reason why I think Brady's going to go to San Fran is that's his fairy tale team. That was the team that he grew up loving. So what better way to go out on a dream landing spot than San Francisco, play 1 year for San Francisco, win a championship with Kyle Shanahan and the Niners. That's what I think. But
that's a solid circle back. That's a solid circle back.
And maybe Jimmy G ends up in one of the New York teams, maybe the Jets or the Giants next year. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't diving into this game. I did not think I was gonna find what I found, but I'm gonna take Zona plus 3.5. You can find that minus 105 on DK versus Minnesota. I cannot believe this. I think I've said this before, but Cliff, he's 15-3-2 against the spread as a road dog. I know, I cannot believe it. That's 83%. He's covering those games by 10 points per game. He's won outright 8 in a row when he's an underdog on the road. That stat is unbelievable. I don't believe that one either. Kyler had an over 100 QB rating when Hopkins came back, and his splits with Hopkins are insane. When Hopkins is in the lineup, he's 9-2 straight up, 71% completion percentage for Murray with 20 touchdowns. Without Nuke, he's 3-7 straight up, only 64% completion with only 11 touchdowns. Zona overall is averaging 27 points per game with Hopkins in 27 games. Without him in 13 games, they're only averaging 18.6 points per game. So he's basically worth like 10 points per game to this offense. And the Cards point differential is +6 average when Hop is in and minus 4.4 without him. That's a crazy swing. And when you look at the Vikes D, they're 31st in the league at defending number one wide receivers. I mean, hello, that's Nuke right there. They're also dead last versus tight ends. That's good for Zach Ertz.
So wait, did I miss the pick here? Did you give the pick here? What's the number? What are you picking here?
Yeah. I took Zona plus 3.5.
Wow. The surprise Cliff pull out of you. You're crazy with these surprise Cliff pulls sometimes.
Yeah, I can't believe how well he is against the spread on the road here. And getting back to that Vikings D, why the Cardinals can have success here. The Vikings use a combo of zone with no blitz at a league high rate of 73%. The Vikes have not dipped below that 59% using that coverage. Kyler is completing 73% of his passes versus that no blitz zone combo, but only 55% versus all other coverages. And the Cards actually match up pretty well with the Vikings here. The Cards D is top 3 DVOA versus number 1 and number 2 wide receivers. They're also top 6 DVOA versus the run. And the Cards blitz at the second highest rate, and Cousins only has a 68.2 passer rating versus the blitz this year.
This is ridiculous. All right, Williams,
yeah,
this is
it's
enough.
crazy.
Jimmy, I got to go to you right here. Jimmy, come on. This has got to be a case of Williams' numbers do not match up against the eye test. There is no way the Arizona Cardinals are as good of a team as Mr. Williams was just describing there. Have you watched any of their games this year?
I haven't. It's been bad. But the Vikings are the Vikings still. So it intrigues me a little bit. This might be Williams kind of going for a Hail Mary. He's got on a little losing streak here. Got to come up with a trick play. I don't agree with it, which is probably a good thing for gamblers.
Yeah, certainly. I'm not the expert here, but I mean, my goodness, the team you're describing, Williams, is a good team, and Arizona is not a good team. And I wouldn't tell you that Minnesota is a great team, but I certainly think they're a better team than Arizona. So we'll see what you got on this one. Listen, if the next pick if on the next pick you do something off the wall, my head's going to be blown here.
Yeah, well, man, I don't know. Maybe Kyler has curfew out on the road. Maybe he's not at home throwing controllers with Call of Duty. Like, I don't know. And Cousins really hasn't been great off the bye either. And you're getting Zona off a mini bye here because they played last Thursday night. I don't know, man. When I watched them last Thursday night, their offense looked a whole hell of a lot better with Hopkins in it. So.
All right, listen, you study the film. Chris, all right, let's give you the final word here on Zona v. Vikings.
So I'm with you, Rod. I think the Vikings should win this game. However, they do have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, and we all know one or two games during the year, Kirk Cousins is going to do Kirk Cousin thing and lose a game that he should win.
Yeah, but those are primetime games. This is not a primetime game.
I do like D-Hop.
That's See, that's what I mean. That's why I think, Williams, I failed to recognize that, right? That, and I think you did as well. Cousins plays terribly in primetime spots. This is not a primetime game, so I think Cousins is going to show up, and you better hope that Arizona defense has all of the backing of the stats that you were talking about right there. Let's move on to the final game you have on the board here. You have Pats v. Jets, and I mean, Williams, if you pick the Jets to win this game, my head might explode right here on this podcast.
Oh my God! The Jets got so lucky last week.
Thank you. Okay.
The fumble, but I'm not picking the Pats. I'm actually picking the under in this game.
Oh, good Lord! Look
Pats
at you.
and Jets.
You throw a Hail Mary
40
last game,
and
and now you do a cop out under.
Sad.
Hey man, I'm trying to get winners. You criticized me when
he's desperate. He's desperate.
When we did a couple weeks ago, we did the Niners and Rams first half under, and you were like so disappointed, man. You just want all the points in the world, but I have reasons for the Pats.
No, I was only
Jets
disappointed in that because it was a half. I thought you should have only gotten a half a point for getting it right.
These things are tough, man. I should have went Detroit last week, like +4 in the first half versus the Cowboys. I thought about doing that with the sluggish start with the Cowboys too, and it comes back to bite me. But the Pats play slow here. They're 31st in total pace, 27th in situational pace. And the Jets have a ton of injuries here. Elijah Vera Tucker has easily been their best offensive tackle this year. He's out. They're getting Breece Hall just had a terrible injury last game. He was 5th in defensive value over average at the running back position. So now he's out. You got Corey Davis banged up. He's out. You got Elijah Moore asking to be traded. So the Jets have a lot of turmoil on the offensive side. And the Pats are 6th in blitz rate, 3rd in pressure rate. Zach Wilson's been pressured on 36% of his dropbacks, 13 passer rating under pressure, worst among qualified QBs, worst in EPA per dropback when pressured. But then on the other side, the Jets' D has been improving. Their run D is 3rd in yards allowed per carry. Pass D, both top 10 in DVOA and yards allowed per pass. The Jets run a lot of shell zone coverages where it wouldn't be surprising if the Pats chewed up the clock with 2 or 3 long sustained drives on the ground. And, yeah, I mean, just for reference here, the Pats have won 12 straight in this series. Belichick 39-7-1 against the spread after a loss as a dog or a fave of less than 7 points. That's pretty impressive. And on the road here, he's 26-3-1 against the spread, covering by 10 points per game. And that stat hasn't been all with Brady either. That's been a couple with Castle and a couple earlier this year. So if you didn't like the under pick, yeah, I mean, I would lean Pats here. I didn't want to take the Pats just because Mac Jones has looked not that great so far this year.
Zappy's clearly going to play at some point. I mean, this is Belichick, right? He doesn't care what anybody says. So Zappy's going to play at some point. And here, I think somebody should try to get this podcast to New England and get it up on the board, get a little bulletin board material of Belichick to show Chris why he's actually not the most overrated coach of all time and that he is the greatest here. And just, this has got to be a Belichick bounce back spot, which I believe is not as prevalent as the Tomlin rah-rah spot, but I think you've talked about it before.
Yeah, I mean, on the road, 26-3-1 against the spread, covering by 10 points when you lose the previous week. That is impressive, man. That's tough to do.
That's the we're on to the Jets, right? Or that's we're on, you know what I mean? They're on to, you know, it's just Belichick's on to the next, right? That's just his mentality at all times.
Right.
Jimmy Jam, what are your thoughts here? Jets, I mean, you know, New York football, right? We're going to get to the Giants. They're going to come up in my Tom Cruise game of the week, but New York football, it's a thing.
Well, at some point, the Jets, being lucky is one thing, but maybe they are just good. Now, obviously, losing the running back was huge, but gaining another running back is also good. I do think the Pats are going to take this one, though. I can't see two in a row. I really can't.
Yeah, James Robinson, right, from Jacksonville.
Yep. Oh, yeah, James Robinson. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good running back. Very underrated.
And then speaking of New York and trades, you then saw the Giants ship Kadarius Toney out. Williams, I can't remember Jimmy, who did he go to? Do you have that?
He's with the Chiefs now. They traded him for a third and a sixth.
Wow.
Conditional third is part of the Justin Fields trade a few years ago. So it's one of those big blockbuster trades the Giants made that they just keep getting more picks. Kadarius Toney really never fit in, which is tough because with Dayball as your coach, you kind of need to fit in.
Yeah, fit in or fit out, famously a NBA player said a little while back. Tease to our fast break segment coming up here in a few minutes. But I have one more thing I need to get to. Mr. Williams, do you have anything else you need to clean up here before I get to my Tom Cruise game of the week?
No, go ahead.
All right, so I apologize for not giving you a Tom Cruise game last week. I would have went with a particular game that was not going to come out as the Top Gun game, thankfully, so we did not miss out on an opportunity of still hitting the top of the Tom Cruise scale. This week, however, I just teased it. The New York Football Giants are taking on the Seattle Seahawks, and that is my pick for the Tom Cruise game of the week. This is a game that, as much as football pundits and all the folks who want to crunch the numbers may be disgusted by it, this is kind of like Jimmy, I'm going to borrow a wrestling term here. This is almost a number one contenders match here, right? Except I don't mean number one contender as in best team in the NFC, but number one contender for the number 2 spot, which is right now between a bunch of guys.
Yeah, I think that's really apropos there because there are a lot of teams that are in that 4-3, 3-4 area, and yeah, great call on this one, bud.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants, Dayball, my guy, I've been shouting them out. I got them as a future bet to the playoffs. They continue to make me look good there. I also had the Lions. They don't make me look as well, but let's not talk about that one right now. Let's go New York Football Giants. And the Seattle Seahawks have been getting some surprising play out of their quarterback, but our guy Chris King has one more thing that he knows, and he thinks he knows why Geno Smith has been surprising at quarterback.
Yeah, I know Geno Smith sold his soul to the devil. And I'm going to give you stats to back it up, because stats don't lie, Rod. Okay, so Geno's been in the league for 10 years. He's been the starting quarterback for 3 of those seasons, right? The most yards he's ever thrown in a complete season was his rookie year. He threw for 3,000 yards. He already has 1,700 through 7 games. All right? The most touchdowns he's ever thrown in a complete season is 13 touchdowns in 2014. He already has 11 in 7 games. The highest rating he's ever had and as a starting quarterback is 77.5 from that 2014 season. His rating right now, 107.7. The dude is playing lights out. He doesn't turn the ball over. He runs that offense like a professional that we've never seen before. There is no other explanation other than he sold his soul to the devil.
None other whatsoever explanation other than that, other than a Faustian deal struck by one Geno Smith. Jimmy, let me ask you a question because you were with us last week during our fast break segment, and one Mr. King was telling us all about how we are not giving enough respect to DeMar DeRozan, that DeMar DeRozan is the type of player that can lead a team, and we should show him this proper respect. Am I wrong to think that DeMar DeRozan kind of popped up with a late career resurgence that Mr. King is now saying is absolutely impossible for someone in another sport, or am I wrong in that analogy?
I think DeRozan was a little better than Geno Smith was. I see where you're going because DeRozan made the jump from fringe-level all-star to people said his name in the MVP race, but his name was said quickly and left. So I see where you're going on that, but I think Geno Smith might have made a better deal with the devil than DeRozan did.
All right, there we go. Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to say that DeMar didn't have a pretty distinguished career before he found his way to Chicago with that big free agent contract, but there was certainly a level taken up at an advanced stage in someone's career, which is Chris's argument. Now, Chris, let me ask you this, though. Geno did not play an awful lot during those years in the middle. I mean, is it quite fair to like use yards and attempts and ratings against him when he didn't get the chance to actually start for a lot of those years?
I mean, there's a reason he didn't start for all of those years. He wasn't very good.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of times where there's reasons guys can't start because of politics and things of that nature. And I just think that what Geno is showing here, in my humble opinion, not that I'm any kind of a football man by any means, but I just think there's a lot of reasons sometimes that guys don't play. And there's a lot of guys that if they do get their shot and they have pretty competent coaching around them to be able to be like, all right, this is what you can do, so this is what we need to do. I think there's probably a few more guys that could put together a season a little bit like Geno Smith. Mr. Williams, am I crazy?
I don't know. I have some stats here with Geno. When he played against Vance Joseph and Zona behind, he plays zone behind his blitzes. Vance Joseph, Geno struggled with that. Wink Martindale plays man behind his blitzes. The Giants play the highest rate of man coverage out of anybody in the league.
The man is an absolute machine, folks. We're talking about a Faustian devil deal that may have been struck by Geno Smith, and he immediately goes to handicapping the game. That is just how his brain works. He's got the information at his fingertips at all times. And because he is so good at all of that information, we do not ask him to stick around and play NBA Fast Break with Jimmy and Chris and I. So, Mr. Williams, we will say adieu to you until next week. And coming back on the other side, me, Jimmy, and Chris will do the NBA Fast Break. All right, I promise that this Fast Break will be much faster than last week's Fast Break. What we are going to do here is we are going to bring back two old favorite segments from our 3&D days. Shout out to any of you out there that listen to 3&D that we did there for a little while with me, Chris, and Wu-Tang. We had a lot of cool little segments there. One of them was King's Hierarchy. Chris will be ranking the top teams in the NBA for us when we do the Fast Break. Another one was Rod Domination, where I would get a little bit angry about something that would happen. And Jimmy, I think I'm just going to spring this on you, but you're smart. I think you can do this. We're going to just continue the face heel thing with you, Jimmy. We're just going to do face heel from the NBA as well. So something, that's the face of the week, something that's the heel of the week. I think you can pull that off for me, can't you?
Of course I can.
All right, so that's what we're going to do here on the Fast Break. So let's not start with me yelling. Jimmy, let's start with now you know what? Let's start with Chris's hierarchy, and then we'll move from there. Chris, what's the hierarchy for the week?
All right, King's Hardwood hierarchy. Listen, this is very early. There's a lot of one-loss teams out there in the NBA, and all these teams are in the West right now. They're impressive. They're beating potential playoff teams. The hierarchy goes as follows. At your king, you have the Utah Jazz. As your queen, the Phoenix Suns. And as your prince, the Portland Trail Blazers. And, of course, we have to have a court jester, and it's the Lakers.
Oh, it's absolutely the Lakers. There is no doubt about that. Jimmy, over or under 0.5 more times the Utah Jazz remain at the top of the hardwood hierarchy?
You know what? I'm going over. I think it'll be one more time. This time next week, they'll still be there, but after that, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Ainge can't trade some of these guys out of town fast enough. As we talked about last week, they definitely want to be involved in the Victor Wembanyama circumstance. The Suns, as the number 2 team there, coming in at the Queen. Chris, I'm a little interested in that. What are you seeing out of the Suns that has you that excited about them? Because we all kind of came in a little bit listless on the Suns, and now you're excited about them. What are you seeing?
I mean, they are playing with some intensity, and they're beating good teams. They beat the Mavs, the Clippers, the Warriors, and they dismantled the Warriors. The only team they lost to was the Blazers, and that was by 2 points. They're playing with some intensity. I think they realized that they kind of screwed up last year. Booker is even better than he was 2 years ago. You still have some sort of ageless veteran in Chris Paul that is still producing at a high level. Like, these guys are playing Like in that Warriors game, they looked like they were playoff ready today. I mean, past midseason form, I mean, they looked good. They were hitting shots. They were playing tough defense. And you could tell that they were getting underneath the Warriors' skin a little bit. I mean, Klay Thompson gets ejected for the first time in his career. I'm enjoying what the Suns are putting out there.
Yeah, I've been a little bit surprised that the Phoenix has come out so, all together, because I suppose my down dauber on the Suns related to the fact that I thought the vibes might be bad out there. But I guess what I'm realizing, and I should all know this from my years of watching NBA regular season basketball, is that just cohesion and being together for a couple of years and basic competency is going to end up winning you a lot of regular season games. And the Suns team did play in the NBA Finals a couple of years ago, was the best team in the NBA last year. And I think even that infrastructure with bad vibes probably was going to win a little bit more games than I originally thought. So the Blazers are another team that fits that description. But sorry, Portland Trailblazers fans, we're not going to talk much about you. Jimmy, we're going to move on to the Lakers. We hear an awful lot about Russell Westbrook. Is he the biggest problem the Lakers have, or is it something else in your opinion?
No, it's decision making. That's the biggest problem the Lakers have. They have LeBron James on their team. They need people who can shoot three-pointers. What did they do over the offseason? Didn't sign anybody who can shoot three-pointers. The general manager just got an extension, which is a joke. The new coach is fine, but you can't, like, Vogel couldn't do anything either if you don't put people around LeBron James and Anthony Davis who can actually help them and support them in what they do. So Russell Westbrook is a huge problem that needs to just be sat on the bench, but he's not the only problem. And another thing, why is everyone scared of Russell Westbrook? What is he going to do? Not play? That's a win. Who cares?
Yeah, I got to be with you on that a little bit. I was actually going to go right to that, Jimmy, is that, like, I don't understand why we're tiptoeing around Russ. You can't start anymore. I'm sorry. I'm the coach of this team. You're making an exorbitant amount of money. Like, I think the second highest paid player in the league this year is Russell Westbrook, like, based on just this season's salary. So, I mean, hey, you're going to still get your $47 million, but, you're going to be the sixth man or you're going to be the no man. Those are your two choices right now. I just don't understand why that doesn't happen. So, Chris, I'll go to you real quick on the Lakers. Is Rob Pelinka mostly to blame here, or do you think there's something else that's a Lakers problem?
Yeah, no, well, you can put a lot of the blame right there on his feet, because the one thing someone like LeBron and Davis need are people who can shoot, and the Lakers don't have anybody that can shoot right now. Patrick Beverley, field goal percentage, 211, 188 for threes. Westbrook, 289. I mean, it's just horrible shooting. I mean, even LeBron, a pretty decent three-point shooter throughout his entire career, only shooting 25% from three.
He's putting them up from the logo, though, man. LeBron's just chucking. I mean, this season's all about LeBron scoring. But listen, the Lakers can have this on their mind to know good things are ahead, right? They have a guy on their team named Matt Ryan, who was, I think, 2 or 3 the other night from the three-point land. He clearly has a little bit more time on his hands now because he just got benched in Indianapolis. So maybe he'll start draining a few more corner threes for the Lakers. That's the hierarchy. Jimmy, let's get your face and heel of the week, and we'll have a little discussion there, and then I'll do my Rod Domination, and we will end Fast Break for the week.
All right, well, my face of the week has got to be Ja Morant, who has just taken another step in his amazing journey in Memphis. He is averaging 4.3 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 0.8 blocks, 35.3 points, and those points are coming on some jump shots as well. Most athletic person ever, scares you every time he goes up, and the Grizz are 3-1. Ja Morant is taking another step up. Can he get the most improved player again, Rod?
That would be absolutely insane. How furious would he be if he won that again? Like, he didn't even want to win it last year. If he won it again, like, literally we might see steam coming out of Ja Morant's ears. You know what I love about Ja Morant, Jimmy? You just pointed to all of the stats and the old school basketball guys like us, right? But you know what else Ja Morant has? He's got the Instagram, Twitter, YouTube clips that just fit the bill as well. Like that alley-oop that was thrown to him, and I can't remember what game, but he basically caught it with his left hand. I mean, the man is just ridiculous. the end of that, I think it was the Knicks game that they ended up winning in overtime where he, was going to the hole and they called it a charge. I mean, he's just absolute excitement in a bottle at all times. That Grizzlies team is going to be good. And Chris, the NBA actually put Memphis on national TV a couple of times. Please tell me you've checked out Ja Morant.
You know who he reminds me of, and you'll like this, Rod. He reminds me of a better prime D Rose from Chicago. The athleticism, the crazy, insane plays. He is one of the most exciting players to watch in the NBA, and he was last season too, and he's just improved that. I mean, he keeps playing like this, putting up 35 points, going to get the scoring title. He keeps doing that. That's an MVP caliber season.
Let's not sleep on Prime D Rose now. Prime D Rose had a couple of years that were absolutely fabulous. One of the youngest MVPs in NBA history. Jimmy, let's turn to your heel, and then I'm going to blast away on somebody for Rod Domination as we go out.
Sure. Let me give you some more stats because I do love giving stats. 42 minutes, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. That sounds like an amazing game, doesn't it, Rod?
It sure does. Who did that?
Kawhi Leonard this season. He's played in only 2 games this season. He's already back on the shelf. He had a whole year off, Rod. This is not looking good for the 2-2 Clippers.
Yeah, man, I'm mad at myself. I talked the Clippers up. I said they were deep. I said that even though they were deep, they could afford even an injury from Kawhi, but they can't afford Kawhi being hurt and Paul George being down on an injury and another guy, which they had to deal with the other night, and then they lost to Oklahoma City. So it's clear that the Clippers are not going to take the regular season with any kind of vigor. They're not going to tie to be the number 1 seed or any of that stuff. Kawhi's going to continue to play when he wants to play and not tell anybody what's wrong with him, and it's affecting everybody in the NBA. We're seeing a lot of guys sit out already within the first week, and Jimmy, I love that you pointed that out as your heel because it's a scourge, man, and the NBA is going to have to deal with it at some point. Jimmy, you and I have been beating this drum ever since we started talking about basketball on a more consistent basis on this podcast, and it's only getting worse.
Can you imagine if you're the owner paying someone $35 million a year to play basketball and they get months and months off? It's not like they're doing this 365. Now, the season is a long grind, no question about it. But are you only playing 2 basketball games a week? Rod, listen, completely different level. Don't get me wrong, okay? I play 2 basketball games a week, all right?
That's right.
Like, seriously, this is your job, and you just, I'm going to sit out this one because it's against Indy. It's like, what's going on? Sorry, I was looking at the NFC West standings for some reason.
Of course you were. Chris, I mean, we hear injury maintenance so much. Do you buy into any of this? I mean, you're even older than Jimmy and I. Are we old man yelling at crowd here, or are you with us?
No, I'm with you. And listen, I don't want to hear about injury maintenance. I don't want to hear about protecting the investment. The investment doesn't pay off if they don't play. The injury maintenance doesn't pay off if you don't make the playoffs. So there's no reason for it. I get tired of it. You have fans that spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go to these games to see their favorite players, and then all of a sudden they're just sitting out because they don't want to play that night. It's ridiculous. And it wasn't that long ago that we still had the Iron Man of the NBA, the guys that were playing 80, 81 games a year. Guys like Paul Pierce, who gets shot or stabbed a week or 2 before the season starts and still plays opening night. I mean, you just don't see it anymore, and it's sad.
Yeah, and you see attendance down a little bit all across the league, and sure, some of these teams are just, blatantly tanking, and, you can't blame fans for not showing up for that, but there's other places where it's down where you wouldn't expect it to be down, and I understand they have a huge TV deal coming and all of the above, but the NBA is going to need to address this at some point, I feel, and I think Adam Silver is a smart guy. Speaking of not playing, I guess, sort of what we're not able to say. What are we supposed to expect of our athletes? Leads me to this week's Rod Domination. We completely let them off the hook, and magically he has absolutely nothing to say. How could they possibly understand peons? He's been a source of Rod Domination for me for a long time, but I continue to just be baffled by the whole entire situation. Ben Simmons, you're Rod Domination once again, my friend, because you sat out for an entire year with a myriad of different things. I guess I'm not allowed to question any of them at this point, right? We're supposed to believe you did have a back injury at some point. We're supposed to take your mental health completely seriously. We're apparently supposed to take yours more seriously than any other athlete that's ever played professional sports ever in the history of the world. We're now not allowed to hold you to any expectations after you took an entire year off to come back. We have to counter in the rust that you feel from sitting out an entire year, but we're not allowed to yell at you about the year that you set out because you basically chose to set that out. You showed no responsibility whatsoever for your time in Philadelphia. You blame others for all of your problems. You talk about it's the media that's coming down on you. You now have Kyrie Irving, one of the worst spokespeople in the entire world, is a spokesman on your entire side. And Jimmy, those stats you read for Kawhi Leonard, I would imagine that Ben Simmons's are even lower than that. At one point after 3 games, I believe he had more personal fouls than points. I mean, this guy's paid $34 million to play basketball, and we're supposed to just give him credit for being aggressive and setting a couple of back screens. Jimmy, what am I even allowed to talk about with Ben Simmons? Are we now not going to be allowed to do this podcast because I just said that?
I think we're going to get kicked off, which isn't good because, we're having fun here. But, yeah, Ben Simmons at one point, Rod, like you said, 14 fouls and 17 points 2 days ago. He's scored 7 points twice. That's the highest point total he's got. He only has 3 blocks, 6 steals on the year. His assist numbers are pretty decent. Rebounds are okay. But really, yeah, he is coming back, but, it's his fault he didn't play for a lot of that time. So Kyrie Irving, the model person who always is there, always playing, he's just he's looking out for his guy. But yeah, it's okay to say you need to be better. We're paying you a lot of money. We traded James Harden, who obviously is doing a little bit better this year in Philadelphia. Don't ask Joel Embiid that question. But Chris, I don't know. Can we say anything?
Yeah, you guys are really missing this, all right? This guy is going to make $112 million over the next 3 years, and you guys don't see what you're really getting. It is a phenomenal thing. You guys have heard me talk about Draymond Green and the triple single. Ben Simmons is giving you the quintuple single. So you got 5.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, 7.5 assists, 4.5 personal fouls, and 3.2 turnovers per game. The quintuple single. You've never seen anything like it. That's why Ben Simmons makes the big bucks.
Oh, that is absolutely fabulous. Good work out of you right there, Mr. King. I love that. It's just, I get it, right? We have to be more mindful of people's situations. I struggle with that every day in my life, where I try to be more understanding of people and realizing that their situation is different than mine, and they all have things that I can't possibly understand. As much as I am a crazy fanatical fan, it's still in me to try to understand, but this Ben Simmons to me still strains credulity, man. I don't understand it. I really don't. There's anybody else in the league would be getting hammered for the performances this guy puts out there, and then we're supposed to be part of his cheering circle for him. I just do not get it. Well, there you go. That is our second edition of Fast Break. That is all for this week's episode of Balls and Brew. You may have noticed we did not have a Yeah We Know podcast this week. That was a group decision by Mr. Jim Riska and I. We decided, you know what, let's just wait out a week. A lot of weird stuff going on, a lot of things we didn't really feel like we had to chop up about. But next week, we're coming back for you because we got a premium live event to talk about. Right, Jimmy?
We are going back to Saudi Arabia. The battle everyone has been waiting for. The head of the table, Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul.
That's right. Absolutely. I love the way that you sold that. And hey, Mr. King may even join us for that particular preview episode. We'll just have to see if schedules work out. But other than that, Mr. King does have the final word.
Goodbye, Internet.